Good morning, good morning, good morning. Well, this is the facility. Let me show you what the facility looks like. Let me do this. Hold up. This is where I've been going every day for the last month plus. Everything is good. Had another successful session. Now, why is this thing turn? Why are you trying to turn when I turn? That's interesting. Okay, anyway, it's supposed to be on face tracking. For some reason, it's not tracking my face. But it's also the older. Okay. So, okay. Good morning. Good morning. The golden ticket here in Southern California for sure. I can park anywhere. I had to earn that. Boy, did I have to earn that. But anyway, I had a good session today. And you know what? To be honest with you, it's not about the session. It's about my mindset going into the session. Because the session itself is relatively easy. I go into the machine. I go in there, have to pull my pants down, as I may have mentioned before. They have to tape my genitals to my leg, or they have a towel you wrap around and pull them to the side. And then what happens is, you always ask me my birth date. They have a picture of me in there, and there's a machine that has my legs in a position. It's like a digital screen. Has my legs into position so they know what position to put me in. I get into this thing, they ask me my birth date, then the machine pulls me in slowly, and what happens is while I'm in there, they ask, hey, any kind of music you want to listen to while you're waiting, or while you're here? And I'll say yay or nay, and generally it'll be some old school 70s rock playing, which doesn't bother me none. The machine pinpoints. They do a brief ultrasound to pinpoint where the cancer is at, and then at that point they run the machine, and it's relatively simple and easy. Then I come out the machine, and today, for these last couple of times I've been hearing it, I hear this popping sound like, whoa. So I asked the guy today what was up, the tech, and he says it's just arcs that happen, and it's nothing. It's very few and far in between, or far and few in between, or however that statement goes. And so, yeah, pretty easy. I had a couple of arcs today. They came through and popped and kind of made sure that I was awake. But again, this is really nothing. It's the attitude that it's the attitude that you have before this. I feel like I have had a really good attitude about this. And you know, as I may or may not have told you before, my therapist was telling me she had pretty much the same type of cancer that I had, a sarcoma, which is in the fleshy tissues of the skin. It's not necessarily anything that's reached any particular organs, which is where it gets bad at that point. And with that being said, she said it was pretty tiring. I've had a couple of days where I've been pretty tired, but overall I've been good. And I just think it's the attitude. I just think it is the attitude. I'm very and always have been an optimistic person, and always have looked at the positive side to things. And yeah. The other thing is, this is on the microdosing side. So I have been, as I told you, I've been microdosing, and it has definitely kept me good the days that I have microdose. And I've noticed when I was going over the videos and uploading them into YouTube, how they were. I was just listening to some of the conversations and things that I was saying during my morning reflections. And there are times when I was microdosing, I was very, very loquacious. Seemed like I had a lot to say, very insightful. But also on those days off, like today, when I don't, I've been doing a weird kind of a thing, because some days I've been taking 2 or 3 days in a row, then I take 3 days off. Then I take 1 day on, then I take 3 days off. Then I take 3 days on, then I take 2 days. So I've just been flexing it so that I don't necessarily get acclimated to the microdose. But also, I notice the days when I'm off, sometimes I actually still feel that insight. I get those insights that are really, really cool, and it's pretty awesome. It's a good thing. Just to what I'm really interested in. Remember before how I told you I wanted to find other people like me. I know there are plenty of other people who are microdosing around, and I just want to find out what they're doing. Just to see what kind of effects they're having and things like that. It's been very, very helpful for me getting my focus. I had a lot of what I would call quote unquote brain fog, where sometimes you say, "Man, where did I put that at? What time is it? Where man, where am I supposed to be at right now?" Those kind of things. It definitely cleared that up a lot for me, and it's just been very, very effective at helping remove that, and also instilling a sense of calm and peace about me. And man, makes my spirit ride high. Now, I'm looking at this little screen, and I see myself, and I think I'm in a good focus, but I'm so very conscious now of how the looking at all my face and my shaviness, and I really don't care now. Really don't care. This is about me, and it's not about how I look or anything like that. And I think that's been a problem with me in the past, always wondering how I look towards other people, and self-conscious about a lot of things. And you know what? I am not here to impress anybody but my wife. If I want to feel good about myself, then I do it, and I also do it for my wife. I don't do it for nobody else. And I don't know who's going to watch this, because I don't know if I'm even going to release these at all. But if I do, so what? So what? It's interesting because my wife has been in the entertainment and business for a while, and video production and choreography, and she hates when you say she was an actress. Oh, matter of fact, I think a lot of them hate when they hear that they're an actress, because I think for the most part here in my city of Oceanside, a lot of people, that's a big thing to be an actor or an actress. Oh man, you're actors, you're famous. You're famous. That's what a lot of people think. But for most actors and actresses, they really know that they're only as good as their last job. And a lot of them don't want to be remembered for just doing that, because that's one gig. They got a life ahead of them. Unless they hit something like they become some character that is world renowned, like let's just say Robert Downey Jr. is Iron Man. When you see him, all they're going to see is Iron Man, and unless you hit one of those kind of characters that you can continually cash in on, and there's a series or a television show, then most actors and actresses move on from that character. It's most common people, the common ones who just walk around you every day. They're the ones who elevate them to this certain status and put them on a pedestal and make them out to be these great heroes and sheroes that they are. And nothing wrong with that. But the actors and actresses know. Now, interestingly enough, I'm going to talk about my wife for a moment. She is a writer. And it's the writers who actually put those actors and actresses to work and put them into those scenes or put them into those roles that you have become endeared to. And it's interesting, when I first met my wife, I was in LA with her, and she was in the Roby Theater group, and the Roby Theater she worked in, and I met several of actors and actresses of note, and they all kept coming up to me, and they're all like saying, "Don't you hurt my girl, don't you hurt her." And I'm sitting back like, why are they coming to me like this? And it's interesting because as we started dating, I started seeing that they were approaching and they were treating her differently, the way that, at least how I saw, and that's just using my power of observation. And in particular, as I told you and I've mentioned many times before, working in a prison allows you to see things in a different way. When you come into a room, you actually look and see who are the sharks and the guppies, and who are the chum that float around, that just suck up air, or they're actually manipulating things, or who are the power players in certain spaces because they move a certain way. And I can walk into a room and see what's going on and say, okay, that person is this, and this person is that, and wow, okay, I see what's going on here. I see who he is, or I see who she is. And I recognize that a lot of them, they really appreciated my wife because she wrote the roles that they played in. And it's one thing to be an actor or an actress and be of note for that, but you don't always want to be known as that person in the Snickers commercial that you saw, or Jake from State Farm. You don't want to always be known for that. Now, granted, Jake from State Farm is probably making some really good money now, but some people want to grow from that. And let's just say, for instance, you've only did Jake from State Farm, and now no one knows Jake from State Farm anymore. And that's 10 years ago, let's say. He wants to move on from that. So the only way that he's going to move on from that is if there's a role that he can play that would make him, that would surpass that last one or change that memory. It's interesting, just now that I'm sitting here talking about actors and actresses, because the thought is a lot of people change. A lot of people change, and people want to keep them in that old mode, and they get caught into that mode of that character. And I guess that would be the word of the day, is about changing character. Sometimes it's hard. You get locked into a mode where you can't change character. And that was something that I had to work on within myself. The last, last few years of my life, I had, well, it's like this. There was a certain role that I played in my family dynamic. Ultimately, what I found out in my therapist, that I was actually what was known as the scapegoat child. I was the one who was always in trouble. I was the one, everything was going wrong because of me. And I felt like I was the bad person. I was the loser. I was failing at things. But really, I was just growing up being a kid. I was just going through things, and unfortunately, I'm going to say it, I was raised by some narcissists who used and manipulated me to push me down and elevate the golden child in my family. And we also had the golden child, and you also have what's known as there's a golden child, and there are the enablers. This is what I've all learned from therapy and reading about things. And what happened with me was, before I even understood what narcissism was, enablers, golden child, scapegoat child, things like that, before I even knew that, I just recognized there was something going on in my family dynamic. And I had my role in it. Whenever we get together, I'd start talking trash about the other ones, just because. And it turned into a roast fest. And if you don't know what roasting is, sorry, you may have been roasted. Just talking trash about others. And it used to be fun. I used to enjoy it. And I was very hypocritical about a lot of things. In particular, my my mother's Christian walk. You know, it was just so spiritual she was. And it was like, oh my gosh, you know, you can't even ask a question because it's always got to be God first on everything. And you can't just answer my question. And I used to get on that, and my brothers. And I realized that there were some things going on. I went to a self-help course to change my belief system. It was called Avatar. It was absolutely great